Okay.
Okay, can you all see this drawing?
Yes.
All right, so I usually, when I start putting pen to paper, I go in a bazillion different directions, and I am looking at different things, trying to bring some culture and history into the design here, as well as bringing nature to this area. So we talked about a bunch of different things. And at the meeting that we had, I guess back in December, you sort of identified a few important elements. I think I had 2 or 3 different ideas, different plans, and we were trying to merge them into one. So I wanted to just go through my thoughts of where we are with that at this point. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what I heard from our talk was that, there are these planting spaces here where there are some trees. And I had thought we could divide the public sidewalk from the park by this is 8 feet wide, making this whole area in here a planting strip. And we would fill it full of trees and shrubs and perennials. In the middle of this, where there's an entranceway now, we might have some unique entrance feature, something overhead that you walk through to get in here. And then I thought instead of the asphalt that's here, we would turn this all into grass in here and here. And so that would be a lawn in each area. This could be paved so people could walk or gather in there. I thought these little circles in here might be small picnic tables that people could sit and use. We had talked about replacing the wall that's here with a series of boulders. So they act like steps, kind of large steps. So these are boulders. I think there's about a 2-foot difference in grade elevation. So we would put a row of boulders here, then another one here, and another one here, and they would step up to this upper elevation. We'd also would add trees in here because what I wanted to do was provide some shade in here that would shade the playground area in here. And these hatched areas are places where I would like to remove the boulder and just have some planting areas in there. And then I thought it would be good if I provided an ADA ramp to get up the steps. We'll leave the steps here, but this one over here will, pour more concrete or asphalt so that it's at the appropriate slope that's necessary. And also so vehicles could get up in this area if we need to. We had talked about taking the 2 taller towers that are there in the playground and removing everything else. So I just have the walls in here. It's a little hard to see, but those would all go away. The gate that's here, I think, is phenomenal. I thought we might pick that up and we might move it along the beginning of this where we have the entrance to the park. And I know that fence is only going to fit about 1/3 of this distance, but maybe would encourage us to do some other creative fence designs in this area as well. And we talked about keeping these 2 towers here and then putting one other device that's a top lot that's a little bit taller and has some amenities there. I haven't really resolved in my mind about the 3 sort of pyramidal things there. In my mind, I'm trying to continue to use them and sort of link them. And maybe this is sort of like going on a tree fort from one side to the other. It might be a little walkway to there and a pathway to go down. Let me. So when I add a layer of plants to this, I see some flowering ornamental trees in the beginning to entice you, to have some flowers to make it attractive, to want people to come in. I see taller canopy trees and with these boulders are that are going to get like 40, 50 feet tall. It'll be like oaks and it'll provide some shade and some subsistence there. We talked about adding a lot of planting in around the 3 pyramids that are there. So I'm adding some more narrow but taller trees in there and some plants. Nature's Sacred has this bench that they like to use. And I thought we might tuck that in here, have a little trellis over top of it. I'm thinking all this area in here, I'm trying to plant so I can bring more of a native plant palette into this and meander it through here. I also heard that there was an interest in removing sort of the driveway that's in here. So I thought we could add some more sycamore trees. There's one that's here now that would act like a street tree there, and then have, maybe this remains paved, but we could plant around it. It might act as a good buffer to this neighbor over here as well. So I'm kind of heading in that direction. I'd love to hear thoughts that you have, or if anything else has come up from some of the other things you looked at in previous months. I'm welcome to make some changes or address any questions.
Hi, Vernon. This is Arlen Colors. I'm the treasurer here. I think the design is beautiful, absolutely stunning. My question is, do you have an estimate as to how much this will? Have you come up with that number yet?
I haven't at this point. I kind of wanted to wait to hear if there were any other suggestions that I might come up with the final plan, and then I'd like to just give it to a contractor so I can get, or two, so I can get a couple realistic numbers.
And that's something, so I and Mike met with Erin, I want to say last week or the week before, and that was a question we had for her as well. And she said, which makes sense and, you know, resonates with what Vernon is saying now, is that before going and kind of getting a cost of everything, you know, they want some of the feedback to the community to make sure that all of these different aspects are pieces that members in the community want and that align with the vision, you know, the community is seeing, and that they're kind of waiting on us for this feedback. And once we, you know, give our thumbs up or give suggestions, then they can go back and, you know, finalize so that there's a master plan, and then cost it all out, and then help us to come up with a fundraising plan so that whatever they're not able to directly fund, you know, then we will have resources to go to other funders, to the city, as well as to do some fundraising, you know, within the community.
Can I ask another question? This wall up here, are we still thinking that we might be painting that with a mural?
Which wall are you talking about?
That's the one on this side over here. From here
on the side of the house?
Yes.
The south side of the housing?
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke with that gentleman a couple of weeks ago about possibly painting a mural on his wall, and he didn't seem to have any objection to it. He would like to see what it was going to look like before it was put on the side of his house.
Sure. And I was hoping you could give me some inspiration for what might be appropriate there. You don't have to tell me tonight, just, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Well, someone did suggest Elijah Cummings, since he
because this is his neighborhood. Good question.
This is his
idea.
neighborhood. Exactly. Well, that's Rolando's idea. And I think he said he brought it up at a previous meeting. So this community loves Elijah Cummings, and I think that will be well received. I also have a question. I don't see anywhere in the park for children to play. For the many residents that we have who have kids. And I have one more thing I want to say. I have a concern about making a pathway where people can drive, knowing our neighborhood. I would not want that to become a shortcut for people to zoom through from Madison to the back alleyway to get around the 2 one-way streets, because Madison, you can either go down, and Utah, you can only go up.
Okay, so what I heard was we needed a path for Public Works to come in and replace the lights. And some of the lights over on this side were pretty tall. So I'm thinking this path only comes to here, and then I'm skinnying it up, making it narrow. This driveway over here, I'm kind of eliminating altogether, and I'm eliminating that by putting trees and shrubs in here. So I guess in theory, someone could actually drive up these steps, but they would be stopped at this point. And then this was
Okay, so it doesn't go all the way through.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And what about the area for children to play? I see a lot of planting. I see you mentioned a lot of places for flowers, but we're the only park that doesn't have anything for the children to play on, like a jungle gym.
Alethea, I will.
Children don't play outside anymore.
No, they do.
No, they don't.
If you go to German Park, there's always children at all times of the day, like young children and even like young teens and teens. So kids do spend time outside, and we'll see more of them, as the weather warms up, and then also as we have a space for them to be able to better engage in. But Alethea, on the Facebook page and for the last meeting, which is reported, and we shared some of these sketches, but also more pictures. We can do a share screen and show those, and then I'll let Vernon answer, but a lot of the elements and areas are actually for children. So including like a big play area where the current mosaics and castle towers are, as well as connecting the pyramids that used to be water fountains, connecting those with bridges in a way, and for children to enjoy.
So will we have the what is that material called? I've seen them in parks, like if the kids are swinging or hanging from the jungle gym, that if they do fall, it kind of pads their fall so they don't get really hurt. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I don't know what that stuff is called. It's not straw.
It's crushed car tires.
Something. So I mean, will we have something like that? So if the kids are playing and somebody falls, to kind of, make sure that there isn't any serious injuries if they fall, or will this just be areas for them to run around? Am I looking at this map incorrectly?
So this area right in here is a new sort of top lot feature. So this might be a tower. This is the slide that comes down. There might be
something for them to climb and play on. So then that would be the area where that will be the foundation of it would be softened. So if the kids fell, that's not going to be concrete like it is now.
It would not be concrete. At a minimum, it would be mulch. I would imagine this let's just say this landscape.
Vernon, if you could show, if not, I can join on my computer to be able to share screen, but the PowerPoint that I shared with you has the images that you had shared before in a colorful way, as well as the examples of the play areas you had provided us that incorporated the castle elements. That might help for Alethea and others to visualize what that will look like.
Better visualize what he's talking about.
Excuse me, Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
I have a couple of suggestions. The secret chair that you're referring to, which you have set on the back side of the park.
Right.
I will make a suggestion to either put it on the left side, because the previous one was close to that area.
Okay.
And it was used for other unhealthy activities. That would be just helping to have that situation happen again.
Especially with
my suggestion was to either move that chair either more to the front of the park or to the left of the park where the pyramids, those wall pyramids are located in one of those areas. And my other suggestion is those pyramid actually is not kid friendly. So my suggestion is to either remove 2 of them if you just want to keep one. And because the other issue with them is that the drainage does not work and they always have a lot of dirt. There's a drainage situation in that area and it creates clog with the dirt that come down and just clog that drainage.
Okay.
So to me, you could eliminate those towers and those pyramid and keep the towers, more of the towers as part of the park. This way you maintain a lot of the existing hard work that the kids did many years ago. But
Well,
that
I just wanted to add.
Sorry to interrupt. Melda, can you just give me sharing screen to the second Michelle that joined? And then I could go ahead and show, because I think even for some of the comments and feedback that Rolando just said, I think in seeing the colorful pictures, they address that, for example, the pyramids and making sure that they are safer.
I'm hoping I have the right
One thing we want to take in consideration also here in recent years, skateboarders have been using the park or the pyramids in the park for skateboarding.
Right.
So
was that the right one, Michelle?
Vernon, you might want to think of some kind of way to maybe make those pyramids into skateboard ramps, because we've had guys come in.
Okay.
Paul, did he? Oh, okay.
I think that could be a great idea. And there's not while there are parks with like young playgrounds for young children, there aren't a lot of places for older youth to partake in activities that are, that are safe and healthy.
Michelle, did I make the right co-host the right one? Maybe I chose the wrong one. I'll try the other.
Let me see, because I didn't get a request, but let me see if it lets me share. No, so it does not let me share.
It's the wrong one. So it's this one.
And Michelle, I could not find that PowerPoint. So if you have that.
I just resent it to you, but then if we're able to, if it allows me to share screen, which now it does, thank you, Melda. I can do that, and then I can let you talk about it, Vernon, if you would like, or I can, but just in terms of, I think it'll be easier for people to follow. Okay. So this is what it currently looks like, so everyone's oriented. This is, if you were this says Madison Street, which it is Madison Avenue, which is, we can fix that later, but to just kind of give you an idea of how it lines up. These are, I'm going to quickly go through these just because then there's zoom ins for each of the sections. This is the one that Vernon was showing us in the black, just showing the trees, using some like boulders and trees. And he talked about all this, getting rid of some of that cement, adding more green there. But for the play areas, Alethea, currently where, the mosaics pieces are at and everything's falling apart, there's a lot of rust, bringing in something, that would allow us, because we have heard from the community, there are young adults who worked on these art projects who still live in the neighborhood, as well as a culture. We have seen music videos and other videos come, like people are coming because they like the iconic images. So trying to incorporate some of those pieces, making it safe for kids, but incorporating that previous art and keeping that history alive while having a place that is more safe and useful, as Alethea was, bringing up. So this was one of the playground designs that Vernon shared with us. So, incorporating that like castle look. And then as Alethea mentioned, making sure that the ground underneath the playground is something that, is friendly in terms of impacts because children will, be falling. And so to catch falls. And then for the pyramids, Rolando, one of the ideas that Vernon suggested, which I think is pretty cool, is, which also we can keep in mind, I think, as Paul said, we could decide that instead of creating something like this, we want to make it more official in terms of a skateboarding area. But if not, if we choose to use it differently, this was one of the ideas that Vernon had, which would use hanging bridges to connect the pyramids and then to have trees grown around it. So swinging bridges, trees, kind of like decks. So incorporating that current landscape into a design that brings in more green. And then when we met in December, what, community members said, and Vernon is very aware of, and is making sure that whatever we design, that there's a clear, line of vision, that things are lit up so that it does not then become a place that encourages unhealthy activities.
Okay, Michelle, could you hold that screen right there? Because Ronnie was saying that
You have a drainage
that's where
problem.
that screen is showing where that drainage problem is for those pyramids
For
and
those
where water has a
pyramids,
tendency
you
to
have a
accumulate.
draining problem, or you want to correct that drainage problem. If you want to keep the pyramid, you have to correct that draining problem.
Okay.
That's
that's-
one of
Noted.
the issues,
Yeah, that's what I
because you
said, yeah.
also have a
Oh.
drainage problem to
Yeah.
the right of the park.
So
Where
how
the
about if
dirt
I-
just accumulate and sit there. You
Yeah.
all removed in the wall, so maybe that will help. But if you want to keep that, you have to correct the drainage problem that you have there.
So I think that's an interesting idea about sort of a skate park. Is that something you would like me to consider looking at here? Maybe removing
Yes.
the pyramids and looking into that?
I'm not sure, speaking for one of the neighbors that lives next door to there, because his house is on the other side of the park. He has to listen to all that noise when those kids are in there skateboarding up and down. However, I do agree that it's probably better than this mound of brick that is there. Maybe some kind of compromise in between. I mean, because the skateboarders, they'll jump on anything to
Right.
skateboard. But I know for the people that live there, they
That's
have
true.
been bothered by that noise. And I've seen them come out there and ask people, especially when they gather in like groups of 20 and 30 out there. It can be disruptive to the people that live literally next door to the park. Their houses enclose that park.
So what if I explored something else for older teenagers that maybe isn't a skateboard park, that would give them some exercise? I'm not sure what that is at the moment. But, let me
Well, see,
think about that a little bit.
The skateboard portion, it's not that they're there every day. You might see them maybe once or twice a month, and that's basically it. You have a
No,
kid that,
they're there more often than that now, Paul.
you have a kid that lives
When
down
they
the
have
street.
large gatherings, it's a lot of them and it's loud when they come over here. So I'm just saying, I think maybe we can see if there are some other options that are a happy medium where something
Well,
can
people in the neighborhood got to vote on it. It's just not my decision
right.
nor yours. It's a community.
It's the
It's
community.
going to be
And I'm
made.
wondering, where did the community decision come in on the wall? That
On
the
what wall?
mosaic, Michelle said that the community said that the mosaic on the wall, that they wanted that to stay, that wall, because I thought before we talked
Oh,
about.
sorry. No, not the mosaic on the wall. As you said, when we met, like that wall, people said we wanted it to come down, and
Right.
in the design for Vernon,
Okay,
that would
okay.
come down. I think it's more the three castle towers.
The three cats. Oh, you talking about the mounts? Oh, also the community said they wanted the towers to stay up there as well.
That is what the feedback that we have gotten. I mean, I think what we have discussed, and I've been
Ronnie was
dragging
saying that
the
we
idea
were
that-
going to repurpose them. That's correct.
Yeah,
And
repurposing. But then we've also discussed, and Paul has volunteered to help with, and I mentioned it to Vernon, and to go and do knock on doors and give people a survey so that when we say the community says, it's not just the people who are able to join the meeting on Zoom, but also people who have, connectivity issues or who are working right now and not able to join.
Right, okay.
So I've got some good things to digest. Let me work on them, and then maybe I can present something next month, if that's all right.
Okay, no, sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's
Thank
no
you so
rush.
much.
Okay, I'm probably going to jump off then now. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Vernon, and we will get back to you. I actually put it on the agenda, but I'm hoping we can meet next week internally, the individuals who have said they're interested in the park committee, to actually come up with a survey so that we actually do it and can get back to you with some of those concrete answers so we can move forward.
That would be great. I appreciate that.
Thank
All
you.
right,
I think someone